Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing on this Wednesday? I have big news. Actually, today makes 2 months of my uh, leaving corporate America. So 2 months is my 2 month anniversary. I don't know if you can really say it that way, but I'm excited about reaching the 2 month mark. I think back to even 6 months ago. This is not even something that I was even sure or thinking I was going to even do. And to now be 2 months post departing my corporate career, it's almost a surreal feeling. There's a lot of lessons learned over the past 2 months, but it's just a sense of energy and motivation and excitement that kind of just courses through my veins every day. And so I'm just excited about making it this far and can't wait to see what's next. But if you're watching, would love to know whatever platform you're watching on, just let me know where you're watching from. Tonight's conversation is about taking control of your relationship and taking control of your relationship in the sense of your job and your career. When you're making a career transition or a move, I find that a lot of us are leaving the power in the hands of the recruiter, of the hiring manager, of our supervisor, of the company. And we're not taking control. We're not sitting in the driver's seat. We're not taking the reins. And in this conversation, I want to be able to share why it's so important for you to take ownership. I think about my own career in advocating for myself and the things that I've wanted. So, for example, a few years ago, well, several years ago now that I look back, I wanted an assignment where I was going to be an auditor, which would allow me to travel and see different parts of the world, see different parts of the country. And no one was really asking for that. They were kind of just falling into that role, but it was something that I wanted. And so kept raising my hand, and they had different assignments planned for me, but I kept asking that I want to be an auditor. And ultimately, it's a role that I was able to get. And I learned so much in that opportunity that I was able to then use for future assignments that had I not had that, I wouldn't have been set up for success in those future assignments or to the degree that I was. But if I had just let things kind of flow and go, however, knowing what I wanted, I would have first felt disconnected, demotivated because I'm just doing what other people tell me to. It's not what I want. But also, there was learning and growth and opportunity that I would have missed out on that I definitely needed because I was busy listening or just letting my career happen to me. And so the purpose of this conversation is for you to ensure that you're not letting your career just happen to you. You're not, or your job search just happen to you, that you are taking control, you're driving the conversations, you're advocating on your own behalf, and you have confidence as you move through the process. So I'm going to talk about it in two different ways. The first one is when it comes to your job search. So many of us, I just posted a reel about this. I guess it was maybe yesterday or the day before, where we are trying our best to look the part for these jobs. We have the right resume, we have the right LinkedIn profile. We're putting all the things together. We're doing our very best to sell ourselves in the interview. We are giving it our all. And you should. Not saying that you shouldn't, but we are not also prioritizing at the same level of importance, what the company should also be offering us, or what input or feedback or insights are we getting about them, and whether or not we even like them. So I want you to think about when you're in your job search and you're looking at different companies, it's like you're going on dates. It's like you're getting to know them. And when you think about dating in your personal life, it's not just whether or not the person likes you and they think you're attractive or pretty, or if they like your personality. It's also about, do I like them? Do I like the way they chew their food? Do I like the conversation we're having? Whatever it is, whatever barometer you have when it comes to dating, you're also looking at the other person. It's not just what they think of you. The same thing goes in your job search. Even though you're crushing it and trying to play the parts and be ready for the conversations and put your best foot forward, you also want to make sure that you're taking the time to vet, to say, is this company even, do I like them? Do I like what they stand for? Have they created a culture that I think that will be a fit for me and my personality and my life? Do we share values? Do we share a vision as to what success should look like for an individual employee? Can my career goals be reached within this organization? Does it have the opportunities available? Doing that kind of assessment on companies and job opportunities will allow you to have more control as you're evaluating this interview, this conversation. And that also goes into, some of these super long interview processes where you're doing 8 interviews, you're asking you to build a house, write a proposal, ride on a bicycle backward with your eyes closed. It's just a ridiculous process now. And so what you need to ask yourself when you're in those kinds of processes, is this a company that I even want to work for? If they're putting these kinds of barriers to entry into the organization without a clear purpose, without a clear reason or direction for it, is this even a place that I want to work? Is this culture going to be something that I feel like I can thrive and be successful in? Because you will then have the right to say, hey, this is where I exit the process. I don't think that this is a good fit for me. Thank you for your time. And then you're able to shift your focus to employers that may be more your speed and may, have a different process that you feel more comfortable with. You don't have to go through a 20 interview process if you don't want to. As much as they want to paint that in the marketplace today, there are companies that are not just putting you through the ringer just because. There are companies that know how to vet employees and candidates and are able to bring them in without creating all these hurdles and all these things to jump through. So I wanted to first talk about the job search side. Treat them like dates. See if they like you as much as you like them, or maybe you don't, and you walk away and you part from that process. Thinking about it on the other side, for when you're already employed, are you advocating for yourself? It's one thing for the company to give their expectations of you and, hey, we want you to deliver this, and this is what success looks like. We want you to hit these milestones, Sure. But what about what you want? Are you speaking up for what you want? Are you giving feedback to your leadership? So, for example, going back to the audit example, I could have easily sat there and said, I'm just going to take whatever role they give me. I could have easily said and just say, hey, I'm just going to trust and just see. But for me, I knew what I wanted from a career perspective. And I was raising my hand because I knew the experiences that I wanted to have. And it wasn't sufficient to just hope they get around to it. And so when you think about what's important for you, are you advocating at work? If there's a promotion that you know that you want, are you asking for that promotion? And if you haven't been given that promotion, if you've asked and you've had the discussion and it hasn't been granted, are you following up to get insights as to why the promotion hasn't been given to you? The same thing goes if you're getting negative feedback, right? So let's say that they're giving you comments about your performance, and the performance comments are not great. Perhaps they're saying you're falling short in some areas, you're not meeting expectations. There's nothing wrong with getting feedback. We all can improve. But what's also important is that you're speaking up and asking the questions around, hey, can I get this additional support? Or I realize I didn't get this training, or I need to get connected on this area, or this is information that wasn't shared with me. Being able to hold hold your supervisor or manager's foot to the fire is also important. And it's not in a negative or combative way, but you deserve to be supported in the workplace. Yes, you're supposed to do your best. And if you're not doing your best and you need to improve, that's you've got to focus on that. But it's also your supervisor or manager's job to set you up for success. And if they're not doing that, that's a conversation that you should be having, because they're the ones who can put you forward for opportunities. They're the ones who are putting in the comments in the performance reviews. And if they're not setting you up for success, if they're not giving you the tools and resources that you need, and then they're telling you, hey, you're not being successful, then it's like, well, wait a minute. Okay, I know that I can work on some things, but I didn't get anything from you either. And there needs to be a conversation. And again, it's not meant to be combative, but it's to ensure that you are not just letting things happen to you, that you're advocating and speaking up on your own behalf. And the same thing goes for going back to the promotion conversation, because it's easy for them to keep moving the goalposts when it comes to you getting promoted. It's like, oh, well, you don't have enough of this, and oh, and you don't have this, and maybe if you had more time, and then when you finally have more time, then it's something else. So it's important for you to keep track of these conversations when it comes to your promotions or movement opportunities within an organization, so that if as you keep track of it, you can go back and say, hey, we spoke 6 months ago. This is what you said it would take. And in these 6 months, I have achieved everything on this list. Would like to better understand what is the roadblock to me receiving this promotion at this time. Because then, to put it plainly, if they're playing in your face, then you have to make a decision about, is this an organization that I want to continue my career in? And I know there's a lot of conversation around, oh, everybody's laying off. It's Armageddon. The sky is falling. In certain areas of the market, yes, there are layoffs. But there are other areas of the market that are thriving and are hot, and they're looking for people. There are more jobs than there are people. So it's important for you to understand what's happening in your particular industry, understand what the dynamics are of all the players, so that you don't feel like, well, because everything is bad, that I have to stay and take what this organization is giving me. I say this all the time. You are the CEO of your career. You are the architect. You can hire and fire at will. But you have to remember that, so that when companies are putting you through these terrible hiring processes, or you're at work in an environment where you're not being supported, you're not getting the training you need, you're feeling ostracized on the team, the work is not meaningful, whatever your situation might be, if you're feeling that, it's important for you to speak up. It's important for you to vet to vet the organization if you're trying to get in, and also to better vet your supervisor or manager in the role that you're in, because it may not be an environment for you to stay in long term. And so with that, I just want to share with you, or just encourage you to take the step forward, to take control of your career. No one's going to care as much about your career as you. And so no matter what people tell you, there are plenty of people who may be well-meaning in an organization, but at the end of the day, your career belongs to you. Your career goals and vision and values, they all belong to you. So the responsibility ultimately falls on you to have the right conversations, advocate on your own behalf, and to press forward to achieve the success that you're looking for. And so with that, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, or if you're interested in understanding how you can take better control of your career, I would love for you to either leave me a comment, send me a DM, or you can email me at hello@rockcareer.com, and I'll see you guys next time.